How's it going, everybody? Um, we just got back from Brown's camp and kind of in the middle of working on everything. I had a few casualties and a few more than I actually anticipated. So let me kind of show you what I've got going on. So first casualty is the rear drive line. It is not so happy. We were able to bend it back straight, but I have a new one on the way, and this will end up just being a spare. And for anybody that was wondering, my rear drive line is basically as long as a Sterling is wide. And that's from like outside to almost outside of the axle. So yeah, pretty long drive line. But another thing that I found, not the transmission fluid, don't worry about that. The transmission fluid's normal. I have neglected to get around to that. Oh, get in here. Another thing I found, yeah, that's the transmission mount. It's not very happy. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this whole assembly off and probably just make my own complete mount, because I used to go through these like crazy, and I don't know how long this one's been broken, but it looks like it's been broken for a while, because it's not looking very happy. So got this all up, got the skid plate off. Had to cut those bolts because they're seized in there, so that's pretty cool. Leave the rear end up until I get the new driveline from Tom Woods, and we're gonna go ahead and get this figured out. Another trip coming up here in a handful of weeks, so I need to make sure that the truck is as close to ready to go as possible. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time under here through the next couple weekends and make sure we're good to go. I also have a blown brake line right there. Hopefully you can see that, but yeah, I've got a clamp on there, and I've got to deal with that as well. But we're gonna get this situated and figured out and make a new transmission mount. Got the new Tom Woods driveline up in there, and this is a thick wall driveline compared to the Northwest driveline one. Was definitely a thin wall, but yep, she's on there with all her glory. And I put the skid plate up a little too fast, but I don't know if we can see that back there. Probably not. Let me go to the front. New transmission mount made. It's temporarily permanent, so I think she'll hold. She's definitely not the prettiest, but it'll work. It'll be a lot better than what I had on there before. Then the other thing that I got going is I've been doing a lot of run around with Summit Racing, trying to get new fans ordered up, because it's been back order after back order after back order. But new ones are on their way. These guys are supposedly only 800 CFM. I've had them in here for a while. And if you can tell, there is not a whole lot of room between that area right there. The new fans are, I believe, slightly wider than these. I think I should be able to still clear the old pulley. I think most of the thickness comes from the back of the motor, which should still clear. So these are two 12-inch fans that I have up in here. The new fans are 1600 CFM a piece, so that should be enough. And I've also did some pretty design work up on the hood, and I'm probably going to add some more, probably on the back side, some more holes to let some more heat out. The fans do all right, but once we're climbing hills pretty slow, crawling uphill, like really long steep hills, the truck starts getting a little bit warm. But other than that, it stays pretty cool. So it's just trying to get a little bit more airflow on that radiator, really keep it down. Taking the hood off helps quite a bit, but it still doesn't do enough. So we're going to try this, try some new fans, and then hopefully we should be good to go. But I don't know if you guys seen, I got the little carport cover for the old camper and the truck. So this thing's been pretty much a beaut for the price that we got it for. So yeah, camper's working pretty good. Truck's almost ready to go for the special fun place we got here in a couple weeks. But yet again, it is a waiting game. I gotta wait for the fans to come in, hopefully here by the end of this week, and we'll go ahead and throw that in as well. And then the brake line, which I have ordered, and it is hopefully on the way soon. But this brake line I've got off already. You can see where it was rubbing on the tire, and decided to blow the sidewall of the steel braided line out. So get that in, and we should be pretty much good to go. One other thing, I got the sway bar back together. I made some new link ends that are much longer than what they were before. Before, this was pointing like way down here, so when it drooped out, the heims at the bottom, they inverted and they snapped the heims right off. So I had to do a little clearance cut for the back of this nut right here because it comes up and hits. And then the other side as well. Didn't make this one nearly as pretty, but it still barely rubs right there. I had to cut the end of this bolt off because it was too long. But yeah, the sway bar seems to be working pretty good. But we're definitely going to be getting to test out this sway bar and this new fun place that we're going to be going and trying. We're gonna see how this goes. Not sure if this truck is really meant to be there, but we're gonna find out. The cage is holding up real good. Been using it as a very good slider. So the only other thing I had was Brown's Camp. I finally bent my rock slider. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a slight bow to it, but I smacked down real hard right there. But so far, everything's holding up pretty good, so can't complain. So hopefully parts will be in soon, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get that radiator out. Got the old fan set up out and ready to get taken apart because the new fans finally showed up. They are a Permacool brand. I was going to be going with a different one, but it was back order after back order. These are supposed to be a much higher flow rate than these guys, and they seem to be a little bit better of a build quality. They're still obviously a plastic fan, but the diameter of this centerpiece is much smaller on the new ones, so I'm assuming there's just a lot more blade on these, and these claim to be a 80-watt motor, and these guys do not say, but they're supposed to be a higher CFM. These are 800 a piece. These are supposed to be 1600 a piece. So we're going to be doubling our cooling power. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff apart, start cleaning some stuff up, and make sure that this actually all fits. New fans mounted on pretty good. Had to drill some new holes and wiring them up right now. And I'm assuming a lot of people have seen these little heat shrink solder tubes. These things work really well. They double as solder, heat shrink, and everything. They seal up after you shrink them down, and the best way to do them, not a torch. A torch will melt them too fast. Nice heat gun will do the trick pretty good, and they seem to work pretty good. The last fans were on there and I had no issues, wired up just like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up all this wiring, tighten it up, tie it back down, and then we'll go ahead and throw it back in the truck. New fans are in and ready to rock and roll, and it looks like I've got about the same amount of room on that pulley, so that's all good. Everything's gonna clear there, and everything's tucked up out of the way, wired back, everything works. We're gonna have to basically wait to go test the truck to see if they actually help. Because there's not really a good way for me to test it unless I'm able to actually go crawl some hills, you know, some really long steep hills, and LV doesn't quite have enough stuff. Plus, I'm still waiting on my brake line, which should hopefully be here Tuesday. So the only other thing I'm thinking about changing over is I've got this Flexlite cooler with a fan mount on it. And I'm thinking about changing my power steering cooler. I have the barrel style cooler with the fins, and it works all right, but it's the same situation. Once we start climbing hills, a lot of slow crawling, just not enough cooling power. There's not a fan directly blowing on that. So this guy may end up helping. I'll tear into the truck tomorrow and see if I can maybe stuff this in place of that and see if I can find a halfway decent spot. So I don't know, we're gonna find out, and if I can make this guy fit, then I will do that, and I will have to tie this in with the other little fan I have down there with the trans cooler. Currently I've got this Mishimoto transmission cooler, and I have this guy right up in there. That guy is my power steering cooler, and I don't believe it's nearly dissipating enough, quick enough. Maybe with the new fans blowing enough cold air through, that's a possibility. But the Mishimoto cooler, which is quite large, it goes all the way to the other side. With this fan, the trans stays pretty decent. So I've got some room up top in there that I might be able to fit the other cooler. Got the last piece that I needed, my new brake line, and got her all installed. And now it shouldn't rub the tire at all. I can angle this away a little bit more if need be, because it's a different style than the other side. The other side is a solid block, so it kind of just sits on there one way. So this one, not really much of an issue. Haven't had any rubbing with the leaf spring or anything like that. But other than that, I think we are pretty much ready to go for our trip here soon. I've got everything pretty much organized. Truck should be pretty much good to go. I'm gonna bleed the brakes 1 or 2 more times to make sure I get all the air out. But now I'm just making sure I'm packing all the tools that I'm going to need, and just making sure we're pretty much good to go. So this is going to be it for this video. Big trip for 4th of July, just like every other year. We'll show you guys what we got going on.